Welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast, your home for weekly information and inspiration to help you get the graduate job of your dreams.
Hello and welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast with your host, James Curran. The Graduate Job Podcast is your weekly home for all things related to helping you on your journey to finding that amazing job. Each week I bring together the best minds in the industry, speaking to leading authors, entrepreneurs, coaches and bloggers who bring decades of experience into a bite-sized weekly 30-minute show. Put simply, this is the show I wish I had when I graduated. In episode 39 of the Graduate Job Podcast, I welcome back my first repeat guest, author and career coach Matt Herndon, as we discuss his latest book, 18 Ignored and Unusual Ways to Get a Graduate Job. As a former graduate recruiter, Matt has a wealth of insight into how you can get a graduate job, whether with one of the big graduate schemes or a small startup. We delve into some of the 18 unusual tips from his book, which range from ideas to help you think about what you really want to do and what's important to you in a job, to tactical tips which will ensure that you stand head and shoulders above all the other applicants. It doesn't matter where you are in your job search or the type of company you're applying to, there is something in this episode that will help you bag that job. As always, all links to everything we discuss and a full transcript are available in the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com/Matt. As an added incentive to head over there, you can download a free copy of the book itself. Yes, that's free, so don't say I never give you anything. And many thanks to Matt for his generosity. So get over to graduatejobpodcast.com/Matt. Before we start, a quick request from me. Your feedback helps me to create the episodes you want to hear. So I've set up a super simple and very quick survey as I want the show to best serve your needs. It's got 5 questions and will just take you 1 minute to do. So please check it out at graduatejobpodcast.com/survey. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, but in the meantime, let's crack on with the show. Great to welcome back Matt Herndon, graduate recruiter turned writer and author. Matt, welcome back to the Graduate Job Podcast.
Hello, James. Yeah, the first repeat guest. I'm very happy about that, and yeah, thanks for having me on again.
No, pleasure. So I was checking, it was back in May last year when we had you on for episode 19, which was Secrets of a Graduate Recruiter. Check it out, listeners, at graduatejobpodcast.com/secrets if you haven't already done so. And today we're going to talk about your new book, 18 Ignored and Unusual Ways to Get a Graduate Job, which I think is just full of cracking tips that we're going to dip into over the course of the show. But before we get into that book, do you want to just fill us in on what you've been up to over the last, 9 months?
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it's that long. So I've been doing lots and lots of writing, as you said. You know, I've self-published my first book as well. It's called 42. You know, and if anyone is interested, it's only 99p on Amazon, so just search my name in there. And that was kind of a big moment for me, really. You know, I was really happy when I first, put something out there like that. I've been writing for a long time and putting my blog posts out there and myself out there, I suppose, and, to actually self-publish something and to actually make money from that was really exciting, actually, to be honest. And, I probably underestimated how exciting it was because, it took, I wrote the book actually quite quickly, to be honest, but the editing of it, I wanted it to be obviously just the best it could be. I wanted to give as much as I could give to it. So the editing took a long time, but again, it's something I really enjoyed. I know there's some writers and authors who don't really like editing, which I don't quite understand. But for me, it was a really just a rewarding process, and then to make money from it was awesome. And yeah, so yeah, I've been doing, to be honest, it's mainly the writing. We're focusing on building my audience, building my the number of subscribers on my blog, and been writing lots on Quora, the question and answer website, which is another great resource actually for graduates. So if anyone wants to look that up. And then now I'm actually working on something else as well. And just really quickly, I won't go into it much, but it's called Write Now, as in WRITE. And what it is it's basically writing ideas for every day of the year. So if there's any of you guys, studying English or want to kind of get into writing or blogging, maybe we can link that in somewhere with the podcast. But basically it's writenow365.com, and that's the next thing I'm working on at the moment. It's a lot of people were kind of asking me, oh, how do you keep having things to write about? How do you keep coming up with this stuff? And really it is about having ideas and about thinking in a creative way and how you can tell stories in one way and, put an emphasis on one thing and then maybe you put an emphasis on another thing another time you tell it. So that's something I'm working on at the moment, which again is kind of growing fast. So hopefully that's going to be something as well. So yeah, definitely, lots of writing, different kind of business ideas. So yeah, man, it's just been a pretty amazing 9 months, to be honest.
It sounds like you've got no regrets then of leaving the corporate world of graduate recruitment.
Oh, not at all. Like I was actually saying this to one of my friends the other day when we met. He also left, his company at a similar time to me, and literally we said to each other, I was like, I'm so happy that was a decision I made, and it was 100% the right decision for me, which I believed at the time. But it's nice to know that now.
Definitely. And yep, you've been going from success to success, and we'll link to your website in the show notes with a lot of your articles which are appearing all over the place, and I'm sure people will be coming across.
Yeah, great, thanks.
So you talked about writing there as something that you need to do every day, which leads us seamlessly on to one of your top 18 tips, which is the third one. And one of your ideas is to do something every day. Could you kick us off with why this is important when people are looking for a graduate job?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I've written in there that I write every day because ultimately it's important to me, and yes, of course I enjoy it and I want to get better and I want to become a master of writing, but it all comes down to the fact that it's important to me. And it's almost about asking yourself questions. If you're saying to yourself, I don't have time, I don't have time to do something every day, really? I mean, that's the excuse you're going to use. Even if it's like 10 minutes, that's something. Even if it's tweaking an application or doing 10 minutes extra of research, how important is this to you? And to be honest, most people are going to, lots of people probably hear this and think, oh, it is important to me, but they still want to do something every day. It's going to be the people who hear this and think, okay, yeah, I'm going to, even just for a week, just try it for a week, do something every day for 1 week, even if it's just 10 minutes. And you'll find yourself, I think, probably getting more and more sucked into it, especially if it's something that you really want. And if you're finding out you sort of, oh, I can't be bothered to do it, or like, oh, I don't really want to do this, then maybe you don't want to work for that company, or maybe that's not really what you want to do. And then again, that's a chance for you to go back to yourself and think, well, what is it that I want to do? Where do I want to work? What kind of industry do I want to work in? So for me, it's almost about, yes, you can say it's important to you, but make it important to you. It's the people that listen to this and think, yeah, I'm going to do something every day and I'm going to move forward every day and get better every day. Those are the people that are going to stand out, and those are the people that ultimately are going to do better than the people who kind of do stuff every few days or think, oh, well, I did something yesterday so I can have a rest today. I'm not here to convince anyone. If you want to use the excuse, but I don't have time, and I've kind of written at the end there, I don't have time for things that aren't important to me. So if you don't have time to it, how important is it to you, and are you making it important enough to you? Is what I would say about that.
Completely agree. And the application form is something which you can easily just chunk down. So if you think about an online application for a company, you've got, I don't know, X number of 10 questions. It's something which you can take one of them a day and think, right, I'll just do a first draft of this first question and try and get that out. And just if you break it down in that small chunks, then it just becomes so much more manageable and less daunting and easier to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's such a good way to do it. Just even say, right, this week I'm only going to focus on this one application, but I'm going to do something every day. I'm going to move forward every day. And, like you said about doing the questions, that's such a great way to do it. Take your time with it. I'm not saying rush. I'm not saying hurry. Take your time with it and really think about, is this the best answer I could give? Am I getting myself across, or am I just saying random words? And if there's one thing I've learned from writing is that the first draft is never going to do you justice. So write it all, then leave it, then come back to it. You can always come back to it. There's no need to send it off that day. You know, I look back at when I very, very first started writing, this is a long time ago, I was really, to be honest, I was scared to go back and edit it because I thought, oh, if I read it, I'm going to have to do loads of edits and it's no good and stuff. And now I read it and I'm like, yeah, wow, that's awful. Like, I sort of get what I'm saying, but now I take much more time editing than I do writing, and my writing is just so much better for it. So, you know, it's okay. You don't have to send it off right then, that moment. Get it all down, get your thoughts down, and then step away from it, come away from it, because then at least you've done some work, but you haven't rushed.
No, I completely agree. And also, if you set yourself, even if you're going to do, say, I want to do 15 minutes of writing this application, once you start and you probably get into the flow, that 15 minutes will easily turn into an hour. And it's not effort to do. Whereas if you try and sit down and say, I'm going to do an hour, then you'll probably find an excuse why you can't do an hour.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be like, oh, I need to do this or that. But yeah, I totally agree. I still sometimes do it if I think, oh, I'm tired or this or that, whatever. But, you know, you still have a choice in those moments. So I think, right, well, I'll just, like you said, I'll write for, 15 minutes, or I'll just do the outline, and then all of a sudden you find yourself writing and you find yourself doing whatever work you need to do. And like you said, then an hour's passed and you've done it all. So that's probably what will happen.
And linking onto your point about if you really, really can't find the effort to do the application or to do the research for a particular job, you do need to be asking yourself, is this a job which you want to be really applying for? Which leads us nicely onto the 10th point you have in the book, which is write down what's important to you. And I think this is such an important thing, but one which so few people actually do.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so daunting for people to actually start to write down what it is that they want?
Yeah, I think honestly because people just have no idea even where to start. And I think for me at least, I was so used to kind of not listening to myself that it was almost, when I did it, it was a bit like that. I was like, oh, I don't know, like, I was like, what is important? You know, I certainly, when I was a lot younger, lived a lot on other people's expectations and, you know, what was important to other people. And so writing down what was important to me was quite confronting, you know, when I first did it. But I mean, doing it just gave me such a sense of clarity. I have written about this before, and I was like, you know, I wrote down everything that was important to me. You know, I put it in order. What's the most important thing to me in the world? You know, what's the next most important thing to me? And, you know, when I'd written it all down and put it in order, I could only think, that's me. That I looked at the list and thought, that's me. So, and I think people just avoid it because they've never gone there before. And I think it can certainly be intimidating. We spend a lot of time either keeping ourselves busy or, you know, I mean, how often do you hear that people, you know, keep themselves busy, or, you know, they can't get to sleep at night because that's when their brain finally, you know, all those thoughts they've pushed down finally come up, and they think, oh, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. Well, if you confront those, if you think to yourself, right, I'm going to write all these things down, what's important to me, and I'm going to find out who I am, then you know, there's no, well, then why would you worry about what you're going to do? Because you think, well, yeah, I'm a lot clearer now, you know. And it's not about necessarily knowing exactly what, I'm not saying you're going to have a complete list of what your whole life's going to look like, but it's like writing down what was important to me made me think, yeah, that's who I am. And then it made things a lot clearer. I was like, well, yeah, okay, now I know that. These are the things I want to do, or these are the things that I want to start to do. You know, and actually this is the person I want to now be. Now I actually am a lot more clear on who I am. And, you know, it's funny because all this stuff can sometimes sound a bit like, people think, oh, is that just like a load of rubbish? Like, why do I need to? It's not even that, like, oh, when you know who you are, everything will be wonderful and easy. It's not that, but for me, actually, knowing who I am has just given me just confidence in myself, as self-esteem, as self-worth. And I think that is something that only comes from you. So it is when things don't quite go your way, or you fail, or, you know, something you wanted to happen didn't happen. It's more about, okay, well, I'm still okay. You know, the failure isn't a reflection of me. It's just something that I've done, so I can learn from it still, and then I can get better rather than just letting it bring you down and down and down and down. So yeah, I mean, this is just so important, and it just baffles me that people will find any excuse not to do it. I mean, it's just, yeah, if everyone in the world could do this, everyone would have a lot more clarity. That is something I totally believe.
Completely agree, and it's something that I do with the clients that I coach. Is one of the early steps is to get them to think about this. Because if, for example, you've got a creative free thinker who likes their independence, if they're applying for a accountancy graduate scheme with one of the big four companies, it might not be the right environment for them. And it's not just a negative thing to find out what you don't want to do. It's also a positive thing, because if you can walk into an interview knowing that this is really what you want and it's really important to you, and they ask you why you want to work at company X, and you're able to tell them honestly that this is what you're passionate about and this is what you're doing. You love doing, solving problems or being creative and drawing or whatever it might be. You're just going to stand so far above everybody else who comes in there and goes, oh, well, I want the international opportunity that your company has or whatever it might be. Just that thinking that you can put in just really, really helps.
Yeah, it's just so true. And that's the other thing, knowing what you want will make you want to stand out. You will put the extra effort in. You will wake up early to do it. You will stay up later to do it. And it's all fine. It might be cliche, fine, but that is the truth. And it will make you put more effort in, and it will and you will be able to be more creative, and you will stand out. And who do you think is going to get hired?
I completely agree. And I mean, again, this leads us nicely on to the next point from the book, which was, what's the thing you love and want to make better? Could you explain this one through for us?
Yes, I can. So this was really, this was a kind of late addition almost to the book, but I had to put this in because, so basically I was listening to a podcast, and it was with Penn Jillette, Penn and Teller, the magicians,
Yep.
Which is, I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And he basically said he was like, look, if you like kind of rock music and you like the Rolling Stones, he goes, then he was almost saying, then don't do that. He goes, don't try and be the Stones. He goes, they've already got you covered. Why do you then need to go and do that? And it made me think about when I first started writing articles. It was because I was reading all these articles a day about being an entrepreneur, being some about being a writer at that time, but being life lessons and what I learned from this. And I honestly thought to myself, I was like, these aren't even that good. I think I could do better. And that was what I genuinely thought, and that's what got me started in writing. And then I don't think that, when I look at sculptures, for example, the statue of David is one that everyone would know. I look at that and just think, man, how anyone could do that is just beyond me. I'm in awe of it, but I'm not thinking, I think I could do better. I'm just happy to be in awe of it, and there's no jealousy, there's no negative emotion. I just think, wow, that is incredible. But with writing, like I said, I saw it and I thought it was, even now it's kind of gone to another level where I think that is really good. Wow. But then I still think, I'm like, well, how could I do better? How could I be better than that? And how can I, obviously, still write with my voice and my style, but how can I do better than that? So it sort of started thinking, man, these aren't any good. I think I could do better. And now it's like when I read an amazing bit of writing, I think, you know what? That's the standard now. That's what I want to do better than. So it's almost when there's kind of that extra thought, whether it's you think something isn't even that good, and hey, maybe you're right or wrong, but that's just your opinion, whether you think it's good or not. Or maybe it's oh, that is amazing, but I think I could do better. It's almost just that extra thought, but I think I could do better, or maybe I could do better. And I think that's, for me, I sort of didn't even realise that until a few months ago when I listened to that podcast, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's true. That's how I got into writing. So I think that's definitely something worth thinking about.
Now, you can see that in the graduate context. If you're really into fashion or retail and you see dresses and you think, well, actually, maybe that could be changed and I can improve this. Or you stood in a shop and the queues are big and you think, well, if I was managing this, I'd change these operational processes to improve this to no end.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
You're going down the right path, and you want to be putting that passion into practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next, in the book, there were the fourth and fifth tips, which I thought were really, really good ones. relate to blogging. You talk about how graduates should start a blog for different industries and companies. Why do you think this is such a powerful tool for them to use?
I think because it just gets your name out there. You can already start to build a reputation for yourself before you've even stepped foot in the working world. And I think, now more than ever, blogging is available to everyone. Even at that stage, you don't even need to have your own domain name or anything like that. Like I said there, just put it on LinkedIn, put it on Medium. You can start your own blog, obviously, if you can, but it's like you don't even need to, I don't think. Just put stuff out there, like I said, put it on LinkedIn and Medium, but send it to people in the industry, send it to people you admire within the industry, send it to competitors of the companies you want to apply for, send it to the CEOs if you're going to write, articles about them. 10 things I love about so-and-so CEO, and I've given like some little hints and tips. But yeah, I honestly think it's just a good way for you to get a reputation before you even start working, which I think is just so valuable. If you get big enough, then you're going to start having people come to you. You're going to start having companies saying, oh, we want you to work for us, and then you can start dictating the terms a little bit. It depends how kind of big the blog gets or how often you write. If you can write something every day, a blog post doesn't have to be like 1,000 words. It can be like 500 words, 250 words even. If it's good content, it's good. There's no rule about it has to be this many words. So even if you write 250 words, which is like nothing, I promise you, then if you did that, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, put it on LinkedIn, Medium, and I've given you 10, the first 10 posts there. Hey, if you want any more ideas for posts, just, if you can go to my blog or just email me, I'm kind of quite enjoy helping with this stuff and ideas and things like that. So yeah, and I put at the end, and if you're thinking, why should I do it for free? Then don't do it. Well, honestly, because like nobody knows who you are yet, unless you're kind of already a reputable writer or got published content and all this sort of stuff, no one, why would they pay you? That's not what this is about. This is about adding value. This is about getting your name out there. And, it won't even take long to do, the whole thing, writing a blog post and posting on these things could take an hour a day, maybe. So, could you watch an hour less TV a day? Could you wake up an hour earlier? Could you start pre-drinking an hour later? Whatever it is, it's like, again, it's like how important is it to you? And this won't be, and also, I said a blog, but it could be easily be, if you don't really like writing, it could be a video blog. It could be anything. You could do, Snapchat is getting really, really big now. You could even do like something on there and just send and tell the company that you're doing it, and like, tell them to follow you and tell you to get the word out there. This is all about getting your name out there, yes, and in a way that helps the company, that adds value to the company, because that's what they're going to care about. I don't think a company is going to hire you because you want to fulfill your dream. That's wonderful for you, of course, and I hope it happens, but that's not enough. The company wants value. So add value in a way that they're going to appreciate, and then they will add value to you.
No, I completely agree, and it's linked to the first two things we talked about today, which is one, do something every day. So you could do this blogging every day, and also what's important to you. If this is something that's important to you, then you'll find a way to make it happen. And it doesn't have to be a specific blog. When I spoke in episode 21 with the CTO of a data science company in London, Prash Majmuda, he talked about one of the things they look for with candidates is, have they not just their CV, but have they got online websites where they've done programming and they've done data science, data mining? Because if you're into this is the sort of stuff you want to do, and you'll just do it anyway. And don't put on your CV that you're great at data mining. Show them. Send them a link to your website. If you're applying to a fashion company or you're into PR, don't just say, I really like writing. Just give them a link to your blog.
Absolutely.
With your top thoughts on the fashion industry today, or where Topshop's latest collection gets it right and gets it wrong, or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter what industry you're after or you're applying to, you're interested in. You can find something to talk about, whether you're a plane spotter talking about the latest launch strategies at EasyJet to anything. If you're interested in it, then this is such a brilliant opportunity to prove that you're passionate and interested in it.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you said, there's no anyone can tell anyone anything, but just show them. Just say, it's like pitch to places to write and things like that. I just say, I don't say, oh, I'm really good at writing or I love writing. I just say, these are the things I'd like to write for you. Here's my writing. There you go. It's like you said, it's anyone can tell someone, show them, do it.
So for listeners who are listening who think, oh, I can understand that, it sounds good, but who am I? Who am I to start pontificating on a particular industry or company? What advice would you give them to give them the confidence to step forward and to put pen to paper, so to speak?
Yeah, I would say nobody else in the world can tell the stories that you can tell. So, and I think that is, no matter how old you are, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter. You are the only one who can tell your stories. So, for example, let's say there's one here where it's like 10 reasons why I want to join company X, whatever it is. Start by saying, when I was little, my dad was really interested in planes, and so that's how it got me interested, and he took me to an air show and all this stuff. Tell your stories, tell your personal stories, because for me, I think that's what people care about. Like, anybody in a way could do, lots of research, and you still need to do that as well, but it's about telling your own stories. Tell your stories of why you want to join the company, and fine if you say, you like the training opportunities, which could be considered generic, but then tell your story about why. Tell why is training so important to you. What experience have you had from past trainers that have really enlightened you? Why do you think it's important to in a job to even have training? Tell your own stories, because you're the only one who can tell them. Doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, how much experience you have, whatever that means. You are the only one who can tell your stories, and so I think that is encouragement enough for anyone.
Definitely, and with these things, you just need to get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone's still thinking, oh, I don't know, send me an email, tweet me, whatever, and we'll talk through it. There's any number of ways you could frame it. You could even say, well, who would you hire? The grad who says they can do something, or the grad who's done it. There's any number of ways you can frame it. But if you're still thinking, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure, then yeah, just get in touch.
Excellent. And everything we've discussed, all the show notes and links to Matt's website and writing and his book will be all available in the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com.
Perfect.
So the next tip we're going to cover is one which is invaluable and works specifically very well with all aspects of the recruitment process, from the research to the writing of your CV or the online application, whatever it is. It is your tip: do one more thing.
Yeah.
Why is this so important?
So, this can be difficult, I'm not going to lie, because, really the moment, the moment gets further away the more you do it, but the moment you want to do one more thing is when you think, oh, I'm tired, or I cannot be bothered to do one more single thing, and I just want to stop, I just want to watch TV, I just want to relax. That is the moment when I know I must realise that I am in control of my thoughts and feelings. I don't have to give in to them. I can listen to them and think, okay, that's what I'm thinking, but ultimately I am conscious and I have a choice. So, and again, this is another thing that's really just going to make you stand out, because it's going to make your application just better, and it's going to do you justice. You're going to spend another 10 minutes looking at your application, and you're going to edit something that wasn't quite right. You're going to do one more bit of research, obscure research that no one else thought to do. You're going to connect with 5 more people on LinkedIn and send 5 more emails to people. You're going to write one more blog post in my case, or you're going to edit one more chapter. You're going to do another half an hour's work on marketing or advertising the blog or whatever it is. But really, it's the moment when you can almost think to yourself, when you're thinking about, right, I'm going to go and watch TV now. Right now, I'm going to just chill out for a bit. Then is the moment when, and it's kind of a practice, to be honest. Then is the moment you think, okay, I could do one more thing now. And hey, look, you don't have to. Again, you have a choice, but you think, I could do one more thing now. How much do I want it? How important is it to me? Who am I? Am I someone who is going to do one more thing? Am I someone who's going to keep doing one more thing? And these are just the things that will separate you ultimately. Again, like I said, it's how important is it to you?
Yeah, completely. And the way I used to look at it was trying to drag myself when I didn't want to do it. As you mentioned, it's always when you're tired or you're devil on your shoulders telling you that, oh, you've done enough, it's all right, just stop and relax a bit, is doing the one more thing that everybody else who's applying isn't going to do.
Exactly.
Because ultimately that's what it comes down to. If you think just how competitive it is at the moment with how many thousands of people applying for each graduate scheme or whatever it is, or how many people are applying for each job, you need to do the one thing that's going to make you stand out above everybody else, whether that is one more spell check of the application, whether it is giving it to one more person just to proofread to make sure it's all right, or one more article you're going to read about the company to make sure that you really, really know everything about them, and just trying to drag yourself to do the one thing that everybody else isn't going to do, just to make yourself stand out.
Exactly. Like you said, you think how many people are applying, you don't have control over that, but what you have control over is how much you do, how important you make it to you. And like you said, it's, it is the people that make that important to them and do it that are going to just give themselves the best chance of being hired and getting what they want.
You talked in the answer then about connecting with people on LinkedIn, which is your more practical tip for number 16 in the book.
Yeah.
What slant would you have on this to make it more unusual?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think, to be honest, the slant that I'd have is connect with important people in the industry. But before you do that, I would say research the industry, research them. If there's a lot, if they're kind of well known and there's a lot of information about them, research the industry, research their company, and connect with them, and then say, hey, thanks a lot for connecting here because I'm so interested in the company, or because I'm really interested in working for you. Here are 10 ways that I thought you could improve the company, or here are 10 ways I thought you could attract more graduates, or here are 10 ways that I think I could publicize the company more. 10 ideas about anything to do with the company. I think that is a kind of unusual way, because most people, honestly, and I've sort of, I guess, said that here in a way, but most people will connect with someone and only ask for things. So, people connect with things, see, even I get it, in the blog posts and stuff, people, and I don't always mind necessarily, people would say, oh, can you help me with my writing, or, can you help me with this problem and stuff. And like I said, sometimes I don't mind, but it's always people connect because they want something from you. If you connect with something, add value to the person, give something to them, send them 10 ideas of how, you think the company could do better. Like I said, have a better 10 ideas for a blog so you could start about the company that you do free of charge for them. And again, so I think, and rather than asking for something, give something that the person is going to value.
I completely agree. It's a really good point. And also, as you say, if you do connect with people, don't just try and connect with one graduate or one person from the company, because you're going to probably be disappointed.
Just do every one you can. Like, why not? Like you said, if there's one person and you're putting your expectations on that, and then they don't kind of reply for a week or whatever, then you might think, oh, well, they obviously don't this, blah, blah, blah. First of all, people have other things to do. So, just put it out there to every single person you can. There's nothing stopping you.
And joining groups on LinkedIn is a top way to be able to contact people nice and easily. So join the groups for the companies or the industries you're interested in, and also the alumni groups, because then you can message people without having them as a contact, which is a top tip for you there.
Yeah.
But it's the easiest way to get in touch with grads who've been on your course, who are doing the grad scheme that you want to get on, and just ask them questions about, what advice would you give me? You're where I want to be. How did you do it? How can I get to where you are? And people are invariably nice. They're busy, but they're invariably nice. And if they can help you, they probably will help you.
Yes, I agree.
One of the you've mentioned it earlier, and one of the 14th tip in your book is for people to use the website Quora.
Yeah.
So a couple of points. One, why do you think this is a winner? And maybe before that is, what is Quora, and what is the website?
Yeah, so Quora is a question and answer website, to put it very simply, and they kind of bill themselves as the best answer to any question. It was founded by the guy who was I believe the first CTO at Facebook, Adam D'Angelo, and so he knows what he's doing. But yeah, it's just an amazing website because first of all, there's going to be loads of people in the same position as you. There's a lot of people ask, how do I get a job? What do recruiters really look for? What are recruiters impressed by? What are some good interview tips? I've answered quite a few questions on there about what's some good career advice, and also there's a lot of people on there who like I've put there, I think it's like writers, entrepreneurs, CEOs, recruiters, other employees, professors, lecturers, even the president's on there. So there'll be someone on Quora who's done what you want to do. It's pretty much as simple as that, whether it is their own company or they've nailed an interview at a really hard company to get into, or written a book, or, is a millionaire, works for NASA, works for Apple, whatever it is, where else can you learn so directly from the source? And again, like I said, there'll be loads of people on there who are at college or university, and maybe they know what they want to do, but there's just as many, if not a lot more, people who just have no idea what to do. So if that's you as well, then I've actually put links to a lot of my answers there, some of the more popular ones, so they'll be useful to look at. But yeah, again, there's questions like, what's the best lessons you've learned at university? How can I figure out what I really want to do with my life after college? What are the 21 things to know before turning 21? So it's a lot of stuff like that. So I think Quora is for me, it's just so valuable. Like, I read stuff on there every single day. I learn, again, like directly from there's a guy on there, Richard Muller, who's a physics professor, and has written books and stuff. And I mean, it just is mind blowing, some of the stuff I read on there. So I think, again, I would suggest anyone getting a Quora account is going to add a lot of value to their life.
Definitely one for the listeners to check out. And next tip, you recommend joining My Kind of Future.
Yeah.
This was a new one for me, the website. So could you let us know what My Kind of Future is and what they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So really, My Kind of Future is basically they connect employers and students, but they do it in just best kind of ways, with events and with talks at schools and universities, big events where all their kind of representatives go. And honestly, the students that I've talked to that are part of My Kind of Future put a lot of stuff in there. They are more confident. They're easier to talk to. They have more of an idea what they want to do. They know how to talk to employers, and honestly, just kind of seem like better candidates overall. And the people who work at My Kind of Future, who I know quite a few, they're all just so enthusiastic and knowledgeable and excited, and just have all kinds of experience, and they just want to help, and they can help. They know how to help. To not join a kind of My Kind of Future society, I think would be a big mistake, to be honest. And again, there'll be people saying, "Oh, I don't have time for this," and fine, I'm not going to convince you, but like I said, there's all the kind of benefits there, and I think it would not joining a society would be a mistake, absolutely.
And I'll link to My Kind of Future in the show notes. So unfortunately, Matt, time is running away with us, but let's tackle one final tip, and it's maybe quite counterintuitive, and it was a final tip to give up.
Yeah, so to be honest, this is just about, I kind of told my own stories about, this is ultimately, we're taught to like never give up and things like that. And again, it's kind of just a different spin on it, but it's like, what about giving up thinking that you can't do what you want? What about giving up thinking that you have to do what your parents want you to do? Or what about giving up thinking that, you're not good enough to work at the company you really want to work at, or start your own business, or whatever it is? And it's, I like the term give up because, again, it is a bit counterintuitive, and it's a kind of a choice, and it's like a relief almost. And it's like, when are you just going to give up judging yourself for knowing what you want to do? And when are you going to give up not giving yourself permission? And when are you going to give up not being the leader in your own life? And again, it's like, I just think this is so important. And I honestly try to think every single day, what can I give up today? Is there anything, am I being who I really am? Is there anything I can, am I listening to other people's expectations of me too much? And it's, even not just people around me, but just kind of random people and, the news and the social media and stuff like that. And I think it's very important to ask yourself, what can I give up? Can I give up? Am I judging myself? Am I thinking I can't do what I really want to do? Am I thinking, do I know what I want to do, but I just think, I'm not good enough to do that? Giving up those things is when you become more. It's as simple as that, and that's exactly how I feel when I give things up. I think, right, I actually wrote a mini book on this as well, which is free if you go to my website. But I basically said, what about giving up judging myself or wanting to write this book about giving up? It wouldn't have ever been written, and it wouldn't have ever had the feedback it's had. So I think it's very important to think about what you can give up. And like I said, I like it because it is a choice. And really then, if you think you want to give up judging yourself for knowing what you want to do, and if you feel like you can't give that up, then again, you need to ask yourself, what's stopping me? Because it is a choice. So yeah, I think this is like I said, a bit unconventional, but just so important.
Completely agree. I know that when after I finished university, I went into looking for a job with a lot of preconceived ideas about the type of job I needed to get, the type of job I needed to do, the amount of money that I wanted to get paid, where I wanted to work, and some of these were ideas that I've been carrying around for a long time, and some of them were mine, and some of them were my family's ideas. Or you can't get a job like that after spending 4 years at university, And I think it goes back to what we said earlier about thinking about really what you really want and what you really want to do, and are some of those preconceived ideas you're carrying about serving you in trying to get the job that you actually will make you happy?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree, and it's just, again, if there's anything people spend time on this, because this is just something that has really helped me. When I took redundancy from the corporate world and the corporate life, I did give up thinking. First, I was, slightly worried. I was, what will other people think of me, or what my parents think of me, and did give those things up, and it just made the decision so much easier. And like I said, it was, one of the best decisions I've ever made, and 100% the right decision. So and again, it's not for me to convince anyone, but that's just what happened to me, and it's just been amazing for me.
I think we saved the best one till last then, Matt.
Yeah, let's hope so. But yeah, I do like that one.
So you should, moving on now to the weekly staple of questions. You've had these before, so I'm hoping you're going to give some new but equally good answers. I've not pre-warned you. So first off, it's been 8 or 9 months since we last spoke. What one book would you recommend our listeners should read?
Yes, so I am going to recommend a different book. I remember the one I recommended last time. Now I'm going to recommend, obviously apart from my own book, but I'm going to recommend The Obstacle is the Way, and that's by Ryan Holiday. And he kind of writes a lot about, it's a kind of old philosophy that some of the Greeks had called Stoicism. Basically, it's talking about whenever there is an obstacle in your path, whenever there is something that happens that stops you, it's not even, it's not about succeeding in spite of that, it's about succeeding because of that. I alluded to it at the beginning of the book, actually, when I said I'd written all of this book, and then I'd accidentally saved over it again with the draft version. And I was like, this cannot be happening. Like, I'd written all this, spent hours on it. And at first, I was like annoyed. I was like, oh my God, like, I cannot believe this is just all gone. But then I used exactly that. I thought, well, look, the obstacle is the way. And then, the me who was a little more smarter, a little more wiser, who'd already done this before, who had more experience, that me was now writing the book. And then I was even more excited about writing it because I was like, well, I can make it better. This is a chance for me to make it even better, even more easier to read, add even more value. So that way of thinking has really, that sort of phrase has really just changed my way of thinking. So yeah, absolutely, that book made a huge impact on me.
It's one I've heard mentioned several times. It's one I definitely need to add to my list of things to read.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So next up, what one website would you recommend that listeners need to check out to help on their job search?
Again, apart from my own website, I would say, do you know what? I think I will go with, it's a really, one website. It's a tough question, James, but I'm going to go based on kind of what I've written here. It's a really obvious one, but LinkedIn. And I think, but do the things that are in the book. So connect with loads of grads, connect with loads of important people in the industry, connect with loads of CEOs, write blog posts on there. So it is about, using that website, but perhaps using it differently to what you've used it for before, which is just kind of, I don't know if they have even used it before, but, use it to be kind of proactive and a creator rather than just kind of reading other people's content. Be someone who contributes to the website.
That's a really good point. And finally then, what one tip should listeners implement today to help them on their job search?
I'm going to go with do something. So do anything, but just promise yourself you're going to write, for 15 minutes today or half an hour today, 10 minutes today, whatever. Just say, I'm going to do something. And whether that's any one of the tips in this book, whether that's I'm going to write down some things that are important to me, whether that's I'm going to write a blog post, whether that's I'm going to reach out to someone, whether that's I'm going to do 15 minutes of research and find the most obscure facts out about the company. I'm going to go to page 10 of Google or whatever and read something on there. So I think just promise yourself that you're going to do something, and don't even be like hard on yourself about it. Just do, like I said, 10, 15 minutes, just going to be one thing. Start the habit. Habits are started by choices. Choose to do something today. And see where it takes you.
Matt, that's a great point for us to finish. Where can people find out more about you and the writing that you do?
Yeah, so really just the blog is probably the best place. So it's just mattherndon.com, which I guess we can put in the notes again. And like I said, at the moment, I'm giving my new book away for free, and the book is called It's Okay to Give Up, a short book about letting go. So you can get that book for free if you just go to the website. So that's kind of a good place to start.
Excellent. And everything will be linked to in the show notes. So check out graduatejobpodcast.com and you'll be able to find Matt and his big cheesy grin.
Yeah.
And all links to his website and everything like that.
Cool.
Matt, thank you very much for appearing on the Graduate Job Podcast.
Thanks a lot, James. I'll speak to you soon.
My thanks again to Matt Herndon. Second time on the show, and you can see why I wanted to get him back. The closing point for me before we finish, we discussed there 7 of Matt's 18 points, and everyone's a winner. Now, Matt is very kindly offering listeners free copies of this book, so bag yourself one over at graduatejobpodcast.com/Matt and make sure you read all 18. Now, what's important isn't that you listen today and think, oh, that was nice, or read them and think, yeah, they make sense. What is important is you decide to implement them and put them into practice. Now, you don't need to do all 18. See it as a pick and mix. Go for the ones that are relevant to you at your current stage of your job hunt. But make sure that you do follow them. As the saying goes, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. So break the cycle. Read, listen and digest these, and then do the one more thing, and then you'll see your job search blossom as a result. Many thanks from me for listening today. Please leave me a review on iTunes if you've enjoyed the show. And if you want to get in touch, I'm on Twitter at GradJobPodcast, or alternatively email me hello@graduatejobpodcast.com. Let me know if you're enjoying the show, and I'd love to hear your success stories of jobs and internships you've got. Also, say hello to Matt, who's on Twitter at Matt_Herndon, and please do check out my short couple of questions over on the survey at graduatejobpodcast.com/survey. It will be a big help to me. Stay tuned next week when I have content marketing expert Chris Marr on the show as we talk about content marketing. I hope you enjoyed the show today, but more importantly, I hope you use it and apply it. See you next week.